this kind of close quarters, and a Cobra is being brought in to finish them off. As you can see, this would be quite tricky to bring them out because they have so many supplies back here, and now the Cobra's coming in with its rocket pods to rout the T-55 and use its ATGMs, its Hydra rockets, I think, to finish it off and force a retreat. With that, the FOB's recaptured. T-55 can't repair itself. But still, it's definitely something to make them think twice. PT-71s and T-64s are advancing to knock out the Rolans. Their command vehicle's hidden in the woods, and we actually couldn't find it in this game. We never managed to take Charlie for a significant amount of time, and the BTR is closing on the MLRS. These guys don't have much armor, if I remember. Yeah, they've only got one bit of armor in the front. So the BTRs will be able to knock out a retreating MLRS quite quickly. I think they are a bit faster. These are the basic ones, so they only go at 60, but the MLRS is only a 45 mile/hour unit, so they'll have no trouble keeping up. I'm using the coalesces that have been resupplied from this FOB to repair my PT-71, and I'm bringing my T-64s to capture this FOB. And with that, the BTRs points and knock out the MLRS. This is a pretty good points bonus test. Definitely puts us back in contention. And some more supplies are being brought in to help the fight here because they can't reinforce here now. As you can see, my ally brought in Mi-2 command helicopters, taking a bit of a pointing, but it spotted the infantry from my T-64s, so we could fire back. Bit of a lull in the fighting here. As you can see, they're bringing back the forces they initially used on India to hit us in the backside to try and stop our advance, knock out our CVs. At the moment, they've got a pretty big found advantage because they hold Kiel, which is 2, Oscar, which is 3. And well, actually, it's not that big yet, but trust me, it's going to get pretty big. So they're at a 2-point advantage at the moment. Right, so now Spetsnaz try and come into play. Fernsnapper Special Forces. Unfortunately, the BTR is going first, which means the Fernsnapper, they only have grenades, but these are specialized anti-tank grenades, so they'll be able to knock out the BTRs fairly quickly. Up here, final Delta forces are engaged in the Motorstrelke. Unfortunately, they're still in their BMP, so this could be quite nasty. They're not special forces, so they don't tend to survive a direct attack. Oh, those ones did. Oh, that's surprising, but still, it's always best to unload them just like that. Delta Force are equipped with a nice sort of high explosive anti-tank bazooka, so it's okay on infantry, but not as good as the Spetsnaz's napalm bazooka. And they're finished off. So we now have a fairly good control of Charlie. Over here, the Spetsnaz advanced, but were flanked by Fuchses to the rear, and the supplies that I tried to bring in to help them out were intercepted. These guys have also been resupplied from their own Hemet, and seeing as they're caught in a 360 ambush from Fuchs from this side, Fuchs from the other, and Fernsnapper and more Fuchs from the top. Unfortunately, the Spetsnaz lost here. That's a bit of a points disadvantage to us here. Here, the M60s and Leopard 1A1s are being rushed in to take out the Motorstrelke and the PTR Conkers close quarters. Motorstrelke probably could have done a bit of damage to them, but because there's so many tanks, the tanks can sometimes get off the first shot and knock them out. So you see, I'm bringing in one of my BTRs with some more anti-ATGM equipped infantry. I've also got some here to the rear, just to give me a to hold off their attack at the start. multi-stroke here, and I'm stopping and firing on them, but there's just too many tanks here with too much firepower for the infantry to deal with. A ETGM helicopter is being brought in, the Hind 24V model, and it's firing a few shots, but unfortunately these guys have been fairly damaged. They're in rough ground, they've got tracks in the mud, stabilization malfunction, some of them are detract or detract. Up here, my allies BTR-60s, they've got so close to this command vehicle. Look at that, they're so close to each other, but because of the forests, they can't see each other. And there's a swarm of infantry, particularly Sacrosanct AA infantry. Well, Sacrosankt's carrying AA infantry. So, you know, I'm just bringing in little bits of recon vehicles here and there. Still, the points are fairly equal at this point. They try to bring out the Leopard 1A1s and the M60s. They quickly knock out one of my recon vehicles that's trying to come over to Charlie, but the Hind 24 is a good force. Right, Clayton's brought back his T64 BMs into the fight, although they shouldn't really be getting within range, although the startups do have 80 km, so possibly this is a good advantage. Rolands are being brought up to just, I'm not sure what they're doing. There aren't any helicopters in this area, but there are some Conkers with missiles to deal with them, and here's some T64s. This Roland isn't going anywhere. T64 is being retreated so it can be resupplied from the coalitions, and the BMPs are launching their own 80 GMs. There's quite an intense battle here. Hind's being refilled. But the Starship's 80 GMs have made quite a few hits on the T64. It's definitely looking quite in a bad way. But the BMPs are still doing a lot of damage. It's all the Leopards are down, half the M60s are down, and one Starship has taken a hit. I'm repositioning my Conkers. They're low on missiles, but they still have a few left. And hopefully Clayton will give me some supplies. Over here, the Leopard 1 has come in through the road. I'm moving my T64s. Again, the Leopard 1 is at a better advantage in this kind of close quarters forest combat, but the T64 is, I guess, a superior tank. Thanks to the mortar here, the Earl remains in their hands. The coalists are coming in, but unfortunately they're captured. Tunguska's fire on the Roland, demonstrating the usefulness of having backup autocannons as well as your AA missiles. Up here, Super M60's only one left, and it's in a pretty bad way. Starships, a few of them have taken a few hits, but they're out of missiles, so they're in a bad way as well. As you can see, I've noticed the Cobra coming in, so I reposition some of my Tunguskas and use the Buck's excellent 4,200 meter range to quickly knock them out before they can make any casualties. Here, Super M60s are advancing. Hopefully we can get them before they take these closes. Here some Delta 4s are brought in. Not sure why, because they're out in the open and completely exposed. The Tunguska's autocannons rip them to shreds. Some Stinger teams as well. They seem to be just bringing units. I think they selected all the units in this area and told them to come back, but they didn't bother to put the infantry back in their transports, so they're sort of coming in one at a time and making easy presence. The mortar quickly dispatches the two BTRs that were quite close to the command vehicle. Its RH-202 cannon is a pretty deadly one. Over here, the Super M60s are causing some trouble as well as the Starships. So I bring my T64s in. They'll be a lot more useful here than against the infantry. Also, I wanted to reinforce directly into Charlie, but he didn't realize there was a standoff between our two command vehicles, so he brought his UAS in. At this point, again, the points are actually quite similar. NATO on 5,497 and Pax on 5,300, so about a 200 point advantage. Again, Skytail 9 is getting the majority of the kills here, with 3,600, and none of his other teams have even got 1,000 points yet. And me and Clayton are pretty equal on around 2,000 each. Some more helicopters are brought in. Some more kills added to the Tunguska's tally. These are definitely my favourite unit in Wargame, just for their versatility and deadliness. Some TO-62s here, they've run out of fuel, they're not going anywhere. Some Cobras came in to try and attack here, but they were distracted by the TO-62s and thought, free kills here. But unfortunately they didn't have any Farfafa rockets, they're out of Hydra rockets, and they have exposed themselves to the Tunguskas. They launched a few missiles, but the Cobras retreat before they can get any more kills. And now here's a major advance. We got Sacristans and AA equipped infantry, some rifle squads here. Coalises leading the way with their machine guns. So now because of this I've had to retreat my command vehicle just because of the threat to it, because my buck can't fire on land units. Bring my T-64s into range. Fortunately, I guess my ally has his EAZ here, so they don't have it capture Charlie for long. So they can't reinforce it all. And the T-64s release a whole volley of fire at the various infantry and flak panzer. PG-71 again. It's got a decent gun, but it's got an ATKM as well. It's quite slow, but it's a solid and dependable recon unit. And Tunguska's tank destroyer up here, but it doesn't even have any missiles to on it. Could have been quite a dangerous threat to the Tunguska if it had missiles, but there you go. And now that the AA infantry and stuff like that is down, my ally brought in an Mi-24 to sweep up the rest of the forces, but it got a bit too close to the mortar ones. These are what the RH cannon is a very good AA unit. These guys are completely out of ammo. They're sitting ducks. And there you go. That's a pretty bad loss for us. But he seems to have spotted the command vehicles here, so they are forced to move it, meaning that we can reinforce the Charlie. Let's have a look at the economies. They've got, let's see, they're getting 9 points in, we're getting 2, so they've got a pretty big economy advantage. They're bringing in some cavalry tank prototypes. These look like the French guns. Yeah, no, it's a US tank. It's got a powerful main gun and a Browning. Fairly fast as well, 70 miles an hour for a tank. That's quite good. And a recon helicopter with Hellfire missiles. But of course, Hellfires only have a range of 2,801, like most helicopter ATKMs. Tunguskas 3,500 range for their SAMs, so this won't be a problem for us. Over here, the starship's just sitting there. It usually relies on its ATKM to in the fight. I don't think its main gun's that good. Yeah, it's only got a 1,900 range, and it doesn't have much ammo. So let's see. I'm now bringing in an Mi-24 because I know these guys down here don't have any AA defense because the Hellfires can't fire on helicopters, and all they have is a M2 Browning machine gun. So this is quite a good workout for us. Fly a bit too close to the mortars and they take out 3 bits of health, but still. Now I can hold off this attack here at Charlie. I'm using the machine gun against the helicopter and the rest of the stuff against the tanks. But they've got flak panzers coming in, so I won't be able to hold this intimidation on for long. They're also bringing in some anti-tank teams. Some tow missiles. And my allies got some more infantry coming in to Charlie. They've repositioned their command vehicles somewhere else, so we don't know where it is anymore.